કયા તમે ઇમર્જિંગ માર્કેટ્સમાં નજર રાખશો કે તમે ડેવલપ માર્કેટમાં એન્ટ્રી નજર રાખશો બિકોઝ ના જો એવું જ હોય કે બધા જ હવે પોતાનું નેશનલાઇઝેશન પર જો ભાર આપતા હોય કઈ રીતના તમે જોશો અને કયા માર્કેટ્સ તમને ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ કરશે ઇફ ઇમર્જિંગ માર્કેટ બિટવીન ધ કન્ટ્રીઝ ઇન્ડિયાનું ક્યાં તમે કઈ રીતના સ્ટેટસ જોઈ રહ્યા છો અને વોટ સેક્ટર્સ તમને ગમે
Good question. I'll balance it out. मैं तुमने पहले बाहरनी दृष्टि दिखाऊं, on how a typical institutional investor or foreign direct investor will evaluate their portfolio. You start looking at what we call roti kapda makan je hame kahiye che, basic commodities that are necessary for the sustenance of the world as well as that country that they're dealing in. If you look at agricultural output, Thailand has now become the number one producer. Ananu jo Thailand has become the number one producer of rice. Vietnam has become the factory of the world when it comes to garments and shoes and leather goods. If you look at next door Bangladesh, they have become the world's biggest hub for what we call bespoke manufacturing. Everything from lingerie to shirts and buttons are being made there. So har ek country e potan mate ek niche banayeli che. India is what I would call the jack of all. So agar koi India no portfolio le aave che hamari paase, as a institutional investor, ha hame ulko evaluate aa pramane kariye che. What industry and what particular company is able to sustain the growth of 1.4 billion people and becomes indispensable. That's one of the reasons, Joe, Adani Group, Joe, Reliance Group, Joe, as a group by itself, they are well diversified, they're well hedged. They too have some, I would call it businesses that may not be doing well, but net they are up. તે પ્રમાણે આ તમે લાસ્ટ સેક્ટરમાં જે વાત કીધી છે some of the stocks took a beating, some are up. Next comes banking, financial services and insurance. Banking is extremely mature. Bank and non-bank financial institutions are very mature and they're doing a lot of lending. There is a lot of net new clients being signed up. પણ આ પ્રમાણે તમે અગર insurance જાઓ તો it is very under-penetrated. So something like a Bajaj Allianz or a LIC becomes a very good option. કારણ કે એ લોકોએ દેખાડ્યું છે કે we are capable of showing upside growth, top line growth. And of course, with the technology, એ લોકોનું bottom line profit પણ ઘણું આવ્યું છે. Then you move on to what we call bare essentials, infrastructure, property market. હમણાં Blackstone announced કીધું હતું, they have put in an additional 5 billion. That takes Blackstone's footprint just in India to 100 billion when it comes to just property. Why? Can't get property no growth and everybody aspires to do better and buy a bigger property and keep churning and growing speculatively and for living. And then comes some very large infrastructure stocks. Tema, you have to see what we call government favoritism. Our government no contract mailo tamne. And then you are able to grow significantly, whether it's in airports, whether it's in infrastructure, whether it's in roads and railways. So this is the way we evaluate portfolios. So India, I would give it a score of about 6.5 from a total ROE perspective. What makes it 7.5 to 8? China. China has consistently been a 7.5 to 8. But China no limitation I would check if you're an American company or if you are an American financial institution, the doors bun check out. So they find alternatives. They go through Hong Kong. Some of the listed stocks are in Hong Kong as well as in China. Is there a 10 out of 10? There is no such thing. So aata mein India jo, China jo, Southeast Asia and emerging markets agar jo, if you start looking at Latin America, they have become exceptionally good when it comes to agricultural output. Te mate Canada and Latin America je counter tariff kida tha, America pulled back and said sorry, mistake thi gayi che. That is how dependent America is on food supply. So India incorporate, if I personify, આ લોકોને જોવું છે કે ભાઈ which country and which importer, net importer has been trading with India how do we sustain ourselves over the next couple of months or a couple of years? And how do I ride this 4 years of Trump and 4 years of Modi and make sure whoever comes next does not disrupt our flow? આ પ્રમાણે અમે જોઈએ છે.
સો યુ સેડ કે જેક ઓફ ઓલ ઇન્ડિયા છે, પણ એમાં પણ જો તમારે એક ક્રોનોલોજીકલ ઓર્ડરમાં મૂકવું હોય, બિકોઝ અકોર્ડિંગ ટુ યુ તમને એવું લાગે છે કે ઇન્ડિયાની નિશ નથી, જેવી રીતે તમે કહ્યું કે થાઈલેન્ડની છે કે સો ઓન એન્ડ સો ફોર્થ. જો તમને ક્રોનોલોજીકલ ઓર્ડરમાં મૂકવું હોય કે વેર ઇન્ડિયા કેન મેક અ નિશ, જો આપણે જો સમજવું હોય તો તમે કયા સેક્ટર્સ પર ધ્યાન રાખશો કે વેર ઇન્ડિયા હેઝ અ પોટેન્શિયલ? મે બી તમે કહ્યું કે સપોઝ ઇફ ઇન્ડિયા ઇઝ 6.5 તો ચાઇના ઇઝ 7.5. શું એ પણ ઓવરકમ કરી શકે છે ઇન્ડિયા? બિકોઝ જે રીતના ચાઇનીઝ ઇકોનોમી છે ને જો તમને કમ્પીટ કરવું હોય, એ અત્યારના ચાન્સ છે એને? ઇફ યસ, કયા સેક્ટર્સમાં?
Sure, very good question. Manufacturing and discrete manufacturing. The ability for the Indian forces, Amari best selling point in the world is that we are the world's biggest democracy. Unfortunately, that also happens to be a flip side to that democracy. બે મિનિટમાં હડતાલ થાય છે, બે મિનિટમાં બ્લોકેજ થાય છે, બે મિનિટમાં હમારી માંગે પૂરી કરો થાય છે. That is very disruptive to a very large factory output. You can't be held hostage by your workforce. हमारे Indian democracy में घणું થાય છે. So will we ever be able to become a Foxconn that manufactures Apple laptops and computers and phones? We hope so. So we are still hopeful as a foreign direct investor and as 3A Ventures, which is partly supported by the UAE as well as the Saudi government, India can be that second hedge. We don't want to depend on just one country, China. India should and can become the next big tech manufacturing head. So I'll tell you a tech sector, which is pure manufacturing. Then comes the software development. India Haji just touched the threshold when it comes to AI and artificial intelligence and Gen AI. That is the next big thing. हमारी पास करोड़ों programmers છે who are extremely exceptional, but our local back office માં પૈસા છે. We will send you bodies and do whatever you want. That is not the way to grow. We should become the net producers of applications and solutions that the world will start using. તે પછી અમે indispensable થઈ ગયા છે. And then the third comes, grow a very large, what we call pay-per-use infrastructure capability. Net new J projects challenge hai. We should look at Europe, which has a public-private partnership. All of the roads, all of the tolls, all of the aviation, and all of that is being driven by public-private partnership, which means you make, you monitor, you benefit, but we will control. So I think, to summarize, net manufacturing and discrete manufacturing, whether it's automobile, whether it's IT, whether it's electronics, net new output when it comes to technology solutions. Then comes, of course, these very large and very complex infrastructure projects that makes India look good to the world. તે પ્રમાણે અગર અમે કરીએ તો the next 10 years will be a phenomenal runway for India. If we don't, then we will remain at about 6.5 to 7. We want to be.